Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Zahira here and I was just about to record a video on the experimental card until I realized that the anniversary event was out and I went and I checked the patch notes and they incorporated everything that was in the experimental card and I am so happy. Not for Bastion. But for everything else, freaking awesome. My beautiful little Mercy that had been dying for years now. I mean, you would think that 5 HP would not be that much, okay? Like, I mean, really, when I first saw it on paper, I was like, really? Like, really? 5? Like, that's what you're gonna do for my Mercy? But then I thought back when I was trying to do the maths and, like, trying to come up with a fair number for Mercy. And I actually did come up with 55 before. And I was like, you know what? If I thought it was fair before, then maybe I should just give it a chance and just see how it is. I should probably just try it instead of just complaining like so many other people do in this community of just complaining a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just sit down and try all the characters and see what's going on. So, I think we're just gonna go through the patches. So first, I think I'm gonna go through the patches that were for the experimental card that all went through. Because guys, they all went through. And I can't say it enough times for me to be so happy. I'm actually so glad that they have this experimental card. I mean, really. Okay, so the antibiotic rifle, the healing is reduced from 75 to 70, which I think is really fair. It is something that's debated amongst a lot of different people. All the animains obviously don't like it. They feel that it's too much. However, for us other supports that don't play Ana that much and play, other healers like, for example, Mercies and, maybe Lucios and Zenyatas, all the ones that do that slightly lower healing output, I feel it's a little bit more fair on us because her healing output was insane already. She ended up having a 75% pick rate or something where it was like really high. More than half the player base that plays support would end up picking her. She ended up being in almost every single game. That clearly shows just how much a character is just a little bit OP if they work in like every single game, like, and then they're picked in every single game. Now she doesn't work in every single meta because obviously, not great against dive, but I mean, she was really OP when it came to like her healing, and her nades are still really, really good, but I think it balances out. I mean, her nade was already like 100 HP. The fact that it was 75 per shot was just so much with the rifle. The first thing that I thought, when people were saying that Ana was gonna get a change, they were saying that they were hoping that it would be the nades. I knew right away it was gonna be the biotic rifle because 75, it was higher than Mora even. Sure, like you add the orb and the healing together, it's more than Ana, but it's more than Ana with the biotic rifle. But I mean, if we're gonna count cooldowns, then Ana is still way more because it's not like with Mora, it's 65 and 65. Like the orb is 65 and her yellow P is 65. But then Ana was 75 and then her nade was 100. So that together, if we're gonna be adding the cooldowns along with them, that's still way higher than Mora. And everyone was always complaining about how much Mora is just too OP, but that's just because her healing was AoE, so you would notice a lot more just how much healing she was doing. But with Ana, because she's a single target heal, people wouldn't notice as much until she started getting picked so much that people started getting good enough with her to realize just how much healing output was getting done. And then people started noticing just how viable she was. And now, she started getting picked by almost everyone. Like, people fight over Ana. There's always, like, I've never seen Genji played so much in my life. And the reason that Genji mains are so happy right now is because there are so many Ana players out there now. And so Genji players started popping up everywhere. Not because Genji got better, but because Ana started getting picked so much. And of course, if we're gonna have a nano, then the Genji mains are gonna be like, fuck yeah, I get to play now. give me an Anna and fucking nano me. I'll Dragon Blade this shit, you know? So, you know, it's pretty freaking awesome, I gotta say. But yes, so that is Anna for this. Then we have the Bastion change, which is the Bastion configuration sentry spread decreased by 10%, and the shots until max spread reduction lowered from 60 to 40. And if that wasn't bad enough, then the self-repair, the reduced drain rate is increased by 20%, which is great, although then the healing per second is increased from 75 to 90, so I'm just gonna leave that to no comment. Then we've got the Junkrat, we got Frag Launcher, projectiles maintain slightly more velocity on a ricochet, which slightly more is not slightly more. I played it and it just feels so much quicker. I actually am going to be using Junkrat quite a lot more now because it just felt so much more fluid. I didn't feel helpless between shots, you know, like even when I was throwing out the concussion mine, a lot of the time between animation and the time that you can shoot people again, you know, you kind of had to really blow it up in your own face almost sometimes, because by the time it was coming out, people could close into you a lot faster. So you had to blow it up in your own face to kind of separate the space between yourself and others. And I just felt it was too slow. It really was too slow to be dealing with Junkrat. And now I feel like he's a lot less spammy and a lot more skill kind of based. The huge difference though is with the concussion mine, because the projectile speed is increased from 20 to 25 and the ricochet distance off of enemy players as well as greatly reduced. So it used to kind of like bounce off of people a lot more, and now it just kind of more flops to the ground if it hits people. So it's a lot easier to be more accurate with that rather than having to, as I said, blow it up in your face. You know, instead of just going right, it's kind of in that general direction, in the correct kind of area where the head should be. So I'm just gonna blow it up now. It's gonna be more like, even if I let it fall, it's still gonna be right at their feet, which I think is even better because it's gonna have a lot more accuracy. You're gonna have a lot more chances to get a lot more kills with that concussion mine, so I think it's great. And then total mayhem, the bomb detonation time is reduced from 1 second to 0.7, and then bomb spread is increased by 50%. So I think that kind of gives a good chance for other people to kind of keep in mind where Junkrat has died and make sure that they kind of avoid that area, because a lot of the time you might say, right, Junkrat died here, and you might think that the bombs have gone off already, and then you step right into the bombs and then they go off and you're like, ah, for fuck's sake, really? I thought I avoided this area. But no, you did, but you didn't wait long enough. So I think this is really good for kind of, you know, the enemy team. And of course the bomb spread is increased by 50. That's actually good for Junkrat players, of course. Then we've got the mercy change, even though it's just healing from 50 to 55. I'm just like so happy. And then we've got the Mora change, which is the biotic orb. The damage radius is reduced from 5 to 4 meters. The projectile speed is increased from 16 to 20. The projectile duration is reduced then from 10 to 7 seconds, which is amazing. And I absolutely freaking love it. I remember being part of this discussion with Mora where we were talking, this was on the forums, we were talking about how Mora should be changed, right? And I was talking about how like her range was just a little bit too long. It was just a little too easy for her to go finish off targets from an insane distance, that no support should really be able to be that accurate without skill, you know? And that was my part of the argument. But then someone else came in and said something that made a lot of sense. And they said, well, I think that what should be changed should be the orbs, because there's way too many accidental kills that happen with an orb. Now, a lot of Mora mains that didn't want the orb changes came in, try to say, well, you know, if you only stepped a little bit more to the right, it wouldn't happen. Like, just came up with really crappy stuff, or I would intentionally always throw it there. Like, no one fucking intentionally throw it on the opposite side of the map where you can't see it at all. Unless you do some crazy geometry, then you would not be in gold saying that you intentionally send this stuff out, okay? You would be out there with the pros playing Mora. You would be a best Mora player ever if you intentionally sent out the orb near like someone's spawn or the other side of Eichenwald, the other side of the castle, when someone is waiting for like a healer to come back or something, and the end of the orb, the very tiny little fraction, that little piece of tiny little ball that's just dying away, that's also killing you at the same time, and then you just drop off dead from that tiny little bit of damage that's left in the wandering orb off on an adventure. I mean, no, that was not intentional, Mora mains. You threw it intentionally initially, and that orb went off on its own little adventure, started bouncing around the whole entire map, and eventually found someone by accident who was low HP and just happened to be standing there and got killed off. That's what actually happened. And a lot of us were discussing that on the forums, and we started agreeing with this person. But I love the fact that they clearly pay attention to the forums, you know? I mean, this was actually something that I didn't just read. I didn't just hear it. I didn't just watch it on a YouTube video. I was part of one of these conversations that was talking about changing something about Mora and making changes to the orbs. And we started having this huge debate about like what should happen with the orbs, and there was velocity mentioned, there was the damage mentioned. I'm pretty sure someone did mention the radius as well. So I'm very happy to see that there's people monitoring the forums and actually keeping an eye on these things. So I'm quite happy with that. And I did try Mora, and it is hard to get used to, but also I feel it is definitely a lot more accurate, because not only it travels faster, so it gets to your destination much faster. So there's a lot of times where, say, I would want to heal someone that's really far away, and I'm playing Mora and I'm throwing the orb in that direction, and it's actually really slow getting there, and it doesn't get there in time, and the person dies. Now the orb is going to travel faster, so I'll actually be able to heal someone that's that far away. I'll be able to heal them, no problem. The only problem is when you're trying to send it over in a small space where you gotta send it in the right angle. When you're used to it being slower, it's a lot easier to adjust because you're kind of moving kind of as she's throwing it. So you can kind of adjust the angle as that happened, but it almost just shoots out like a lightning bolt and it's just insane. So it's really hard to adjust to, but I'm 100% sure I'll be able to. It's just gonna be a matter of practice, and it's definitely way more accurate because once you throw it in the right angle and you can get it to bounce in the same area, in the same room, it can do a lot of healing. Yes, the duration is less, but the fact that you actually have it travel faster, it's gonna bounce around in the same area much faster, and I think it's just gonna do overall a lot more healing than what it used to when it would travel around, and for half the time it would be like up in the ceiling trying to travel back. In the meantime, you have to do your left click while the orb is still up there and it needs to travel down here, you know? So I think it's a really, really good change for kind of both sides of the party, really. And then we've got the Zenyatta change that actually stayed as well, which is the Orb of Discord. Damage amplification increased from 25 to 30, and I can tell you, I definitely noticed a difference when I was using Zenyatta. I never used Zenyatta, but I'm never really that good at all. But I did notice the huge difference as I was playing him. Definitely huge change. And then the other amazing stuff, they added more stuff. So some of it was already on PTR as well. Some of it I didn't see, but we're just gonna go through it all. So there is the Ash change. So the Viper, the secondary fire, it now reaches maximum zoom halfway through Ash's aim down sights instead of at its conclusion. So it's just gonna be easier to scope in, basically. It's just gonna make it more smooth for our Ash player to scope in rather than having to wait until it goes all the way through, which is good. I think it's really good. Because right now, the only viable sniper is Widowmaker, and yes, a little bit Hanzo, but he's not the way he used to be. So really the only sniper right now is Widowmaker. So getting Ash up there a little bit is a good idea. Then we've got Diva. It's kind of a general, it says it's a general change. So it's restored functionality, allowing Diva to maintain her current aim pitch when demeching. So I didn't really notice that needed changing myself because I don't really play Diva that much, but obviously that was an issue that people must have complained about, so that's a good thing that they decided to fix that. Then there's Doomfist. I don't know how I feel about this because it seems very much tuned towards Doomfist players to kind of make sure that they're a lot more accurate and can move around a lot faster. I don't know how I feel about that because I don't want to start seeing Doomfist in every one of my games again, but we'll just see how that goes. So we've got Seismic Slam, so you can now hold down that ability button to use Seismic Slam as soon as it's able to and valid to be using if using the aerial vision. So basically, if you don't want to be timing it at the right time, you don't really have to do that anymore. You can just uppercut and then just hold down the ability to button and he's just gonna Seismic Slam automatically. Why else would you want skill involved? Who knows? Then when landing very close or on top of enemies, the enemies will now be pushed in front or away from Doomfist slightly, instead of sometimes having them end up beside or behind Doomfist, which again, I don't think is a nice thing because, like, depending, now, I don't know if they're basing this on where Doomfist is looking, right? Because if it's based on that, then fine. If Doomfist is purposely falling on top of someone and is looking right at them and wants the person to fall right in front of their face so that he can continue his combos, then fine. Okay, great. But if he's landing somewhere and even the people beside him end up in front of him, I'm not gonna like that. That's kind of unclear to me, so I guess we're gonna find that out a little bit as we go on. Then we've got the aerial Seismic Slam that no longer has a slight acceleration time, which should make it arrive at the destination more reliably. Not too sure about that when I don't play Doomfist. Then we've got Echo, which is good news for us Echo players. The general thing is that they reduce the height of Echo's head hit volume or hitbox. And I think that's very good because she was really easy to hit. Like really, really easy. And we've got May. I'm pretty sure this was in the PTR. Her Cryo Freeze now behaves like May's Ice Wall when it comes to interactions. The Cryo Freeze will block line of sight and collision in much the same way. So say that you're trying to stop, this is what I'm hoping for at least, you're trying to stop Hammond to continuously roll onto Hanamura point A over and over again. You're putting your wall up, it stops him from rolling, but then that wall's gonna go down. In theory, you're gonna be able to use your Cryo Freeze now to stop his momentum. Now, obviously, you're gonna have to make sure that you place yourself in the correct space just as he's coming in your way. I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy since you're trying not to die. Most of the time, you're gonna stay away from the area that he's gonna be rolling through. This time, just pretend that you wanna get knocked away. Just run straight into him and then Cryo Freeze. That should hopefully stop his momentum, but I'm gonna have to test that. Then the next one and last one would be Reinhardt, and he also had a general change, very much like Echo's, reduced the height of Rein's head hit volume or hitbox, making it harder to hit him in the head from behind. So I didn't know this was an issue until there was the KarQ video quite recently where he showed the work of a really good 3D artist who's a fan of Overwatch, of course, and they basically took all the characters from Overwatch, did some magical thingamabob that they knew how to do. He explained it really well. The link is in the description. It's really cool. He shows all the hitboxes, basically. This fan remade all the hitboxes for everyone with a blender, and he showed them all one by one, and I found it really helpful because now I can actually envision the characters and where the hitboxes are, and there's a lot of little parts of characters that you would think are part of a hitbox and they're not. So I think it's a really useful video. Definitely watch it. And yeah, I didn't realize that there was no hitbox on Reinhardt's back. Like, I mean, it is a hitbox, but like it's not like a high damage head hitbox. So like I would shoot into his back thinking that I was doing damage to him, and I noticed that it does especially high damage when you're shooting into his back, and I thought that was done on purpose, but clearly I must have been shooting in the general area where his head hitbox must have been kind of popping out, and that's probably why they changed that. Like, they must have noticed it. I only noticed after watching that video that there's no such thing on his back, so I was like, wait. This is so confusing, and that makes sense now. But that's good. These are all the changes, really. I felt amazing when I played the Mercy from Experimental, so I absolutely cannot wait to get the fuck out of gold with Mercy. Finally, because I can actually rely on myself to do a little bit more healing. You must have noticed throughout this video that the gameplay is actually from the experimental card. I took up my pistol a little bit more. I was able to get quite a few kills with that. I actually feel like I'm a lot more free with this new Mercy. I feel like I can take out my pistol in that fraction of a second to either assist my DPS that I'm healing, or assist my tank, or even just to defend myself without feeling like, oh my god, like if I take out my pistol, they die instantly. You know, like there's that tiny little bit of a leeway. Of course, it doesn't mean take out your pistol all the time, but that one time that you do take out your pistol, you don't feel as guilty anymore. You don't feel like, oh my god, they're gonna die as soon as I take it out, you know? So I think it's awesome. But anyway, I'm sorry, I was not able to make this video any shorter. I tried to go as fast as possible, but this is so exciting. There is no shorter way for me to actually cover these. I know you can look up the patch notes yourselves, but I really wanted to cover it for you guys anyway. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please press the like button. If you want to know when I upload next, please press the subscribe button and press the icon with the little bell. It'll tell you when it is that I upload. It would be amazing if you did that so that we can just interact in the comments and stuff. And yeah, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions on what it is that you want me to talk about, please put it in the comments. I would really love that. And there is also a Discord in the description below. If you want to join it, feel free. There's plenty of really nice people. I would love to have you there. Hopefully soon-ish I'll be able to do some pugs or something. We'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely rest of the day. Bye! Oh my god, I'm actually... Look! Look, I'm healing. I'm actually, like, the Mora is not doing enough damage. I can actually heal someone that Mora is trying to kill. This is amazing. That never happens. Oh, this is beautiful. I'm actually making a difference. Look at me. I'm making a difference as Mercy. This is the best day ever. Oh my god. I'm so happy. I Valk again.
Look out!
Fuck me, bitch! Shit, fuck!
Oh,
It's okay, I can heal you! I can heal you! I can actually heal now!
I got my boots.
Get the baby diva! Get the baby diva! Get the baby diva! Get the zen! Get the zen! Get the zen!
Oh my god, my game is
Get
lagging.
the zen! What?